integrity is absolutely fundamental. And that's why stockbrokers say their word is their bond.
Who is Mr. Gamaliel Onosode, Nigerian first certified stockbroker?
We've invited Gamaliel Onosode, stockbroker 001, to the trading floor.
And why is he called Mr. Integrity?
Dr. Onosode was a man of integrity, on the basis of which he was known, called, identified as Mr. Integrity.
You see, Mr. Gamaliel is a well-respected man, especially in the Nigerian corporate space. When he joined the Nigerian Breweries, a subsidiary of the global conglomerate Heineken, he rose through the ranks, and by early 1970s, he became the chairman and managing director of the company. And it was from the Nigerian Brewery he started gaining the massive reputation for honesty and strong corporate governance. In the 60s, Nigerian economy started booming massively. You see, because Nigeria discovered oil, and because of that, a lot of people in the corporate space started using their position to amass a lot of wealth and also expand their political influence. But Mr. Gamaliel was very different. He would never approve a contract without doing proper investigation. He would personally read every page of a proposal that is given to him, and if there is any inflated price, a shady clause, or an hidden interest, he would reject it immediately, no matter who presented it. He prevented the wealthy and influential from manipulating stock prices. He refused to accept bribes from them to cover their losses, and he sacked board members who are involved in conflict of interest deals with the brewery. He was so trusted among local and even foreign investors that when investors want to invest in the Nigerian breweries, they ask if Onosode is involved, and if he's involved, they are all involved. And because of his honesty, he became very sought after in all of the biggest companies in Nigeria during that period. In fact, he rose to become chairman of boards of several companies, including Cabric Nigeria, Dunlop, Navcon, Airtel, and Nigerian Industrial Development Bank. In 1980, the Nigerian government started pushing the idea of setting up more industrial businesses, and one major project they wanted to use to kickstart it was the Aluminum Smelter Company of Nigeria, ALSCON, a factory that's supposedly supposed to be built in Akwa Ibom State. They wanted to reduce Nigerians' reliance on foreign aluminium, build a big factory that produces Nigerian smelter aluminium, and they'll be able to even employ more people and create jobs for a lot of Nigeria around that time. The project was supposed to be one of the biggest industrial projects in Nigerian history. In fact, at that time, the project was estimated to cost $3.2 billion at completion. And by that time, Mr. Onosode was already a trusted hand in the Nigerian corporate world. He had chaired several companies in Nigeria, and he was also a special advisor to the president on budget affairs. And due to his massive wealth of knowledge and reputation for honesty and expertise, he was appointed the chairman of the Aluminum Smelter Company of Nigeria, and he would help to bring this national project into reality. But this particular appointment became what almost ruined his career and reputation, what he built over the years. You see, from the moment the contract was signed, problems started. One of the first major issues they had was that the contract was awarded to one Russian company, and there were reports that they had massively inflated the price of the deal. And at that time, Nigeria was still under military rule, and people involved in awarding the contract were linked to key military figures like General Ibrahim Babangida and Sani Abacha. And these people engineered the contract in order to get benefit from it. In fact, they discovered that $1.2 billion had already been moved from that particular contract sum, even before the contract became operational. In several instances, contractors bought turbine, what was supposed to use to build this factory, and they decided to inflate the figure to a very high amount of money in order to get a lot of profit from it. They signed fake contracts for work they never did. They even paid people huge amount of money before any real work was done. Eventually, no one could explain what happened to hundreds of billions of dollars meant for that particular project. As the chairman, Mr. Onosode began to investigate and question the excessive figures when he noticed manipulation, especially when numbers were not adding up. During his investigation, he discovered layers upon layers of corruption, especially in that particular project. And when contractors and government officials discovered that he was asking too many questions, they started planning on different ways they could bribe him in order for him to keep shut his mouth. He was approached not once, not twice, but several times. Now, some came to him and offered him gifts in form of an appreciation, but disguised in the form of bribe. But some didn't hide it. They offered suitcases to him in order for him to keep his mouth shut. And some even promised him shares in several dummy companies across the world. At one point, he was offered $10 million to look the other way, a bribe from a well-known political personality in Nigeria at that time. And this person was well connected to both the contractors and the military government officials. But he did not only reject these particular offers that were given to him, he made sure he documented all of them, and during board meetings, he informed the board members about plans to compromise him and give him bribes in order for him to shut up his mouth from all the investigation and findings he discovered as a result of this particular contract. But despite all this, he insisted that the project must follow international standards and public accountability. And because of this his particular stance, he was in conflict with both the wealthy and very influential personality in the country who wanted to amass wealth from this particular project. And because he was trying to fight this massive fraud he discovered, the board meetings he chaired started becoming intense, and some people started complaining of his harsh and meticulous system of operation. In fact, it got so bad that some government officials started bypassing him in communication and were not involving him in important information that has to do with this particular project. In order to keep an eye on him, they started monitoring all the memos coming into and outside of this particular company in order to know what he has been doing and if he's not going to compromise their stance. But despite the fact that he knows all this, that did not stop him. In fact, it increased his efforts. He started writing letters to the Ministry of Mines and Power, and he informed them about the specific violation he had discovered, especially from the contractors. At one point, he stopped the disbursement of over 500 million naira to a foreign contractor until they had provided proof of the work they had done, and called for an independent audit of the entire project. But as a result of pressure he was getting from military officers and contractors, plus the fact that he started getting a lot of threats from political figures in the country, he said to quietly resign as a board chairman and moved out from being a board member of this particular project. And after he left, the military government of General Sani Abacha continued with the project in 1997. And the Aluminum Smelter plant was declared technically completed. However, the plant itself never entered food production till today, because the government officials kept giving out contracts in shady and secretive ways, and there were several reports that many parts used in the project were old, outdated, and of poor quality. Till today, the factory has never worked properly, and it became a big, expensive waste, sitting there without doing anything. In 1983, few years after he resigned as the chairman of the board of Aluminum Smelter Company, he was called by numerous political parties in Nigeria to run as president of the country, because people saw him as someone that can clean up the system. But just like you would suspect, he lost the nomination ticket because he refused to comply with their demand. He refused to bribe party delegates, give out contracts, and offer Ghana must go back to ensure his nomination. And even after that, several political parties even offered to appoint him as minister severally, up to about 5 times, even to the extent of Minister of Finance and Minister of Education. In fact, military head of states like Yakubu Gowon and Babangida, and even later Obasanjo during his civilian tenure, tried to convince him to join his cabinet because people trust him. And because if people trust him, it means that people automatically trust his own cabinet as well. But he refused all their appointments and requests because he felt that they would not give him a free hand to work and clear out the system like he would want to. But throughout this period, he continued to hold the position as the chairman of the board of Nigerian Breweries for about 16 years. And later he became the longest serving chairman of that particular board in the history of the Nigerian Breweries itself. Even though government-sponsored agents from Ibrahim Babangida's tenure tried to impose certain candidates on him to join as board of the Nigerian breweries and even procurement of contracts of that particular company, he refused vehemently and resisted every move of the military head of state in Nigeria. Now, what do you think about this awesome man, and do you think that we still have a lot of Gamaliel Onosode in Nigeria to today? Let me hear what you think in the comment below. Make sure you like this video and do make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.